And Pale Path had confessed her crush, and he probably politely rejected her. He just hasn't been shown to have any romantic interest in her. I also think he knows that his best bud Ottertail had a crush on her, and might have been rooting for him a bit. Or maybe Potato Cloud doesn't like girls, or maybe he could also just be aromantic. We'll have to see if anything happens in the future with other cats. Potato Cloud also just became a mentor, and he's a bit overwhelmed but honored Burdock Star thought he would be a good choice. He definitely has his paws full of her though. And next up is Pale Path and Ember Feather, who are both 26 moons old, and they actually became mates at the very last moon of this year. On that moon, Pale Path had been thinking about love, and Ember Feather was nervous. So I sent them on patrol together, and they had a cute training session, and during which I decided Ember Feather confessed his feelings, and Pale Path accepted them. This is almost half a year after Potato Cloud rejected her, so I'm sure she moved on by then. These two just got together, so they're at the awkward dating stage where Ember Feather is very nervous about messing things up. He also feels a little bad about his brother, but they already talked about this and how they'd have no hard feelings if one of them got to be Pale Path's mate. Beyond the love drama, Pale Path is still a rowdy girl ready to take on anything. I kind of see them as the buff girl for emo boyfriend. Ember Feather's strong too, it's just a funny image. Pale Path ran into rogues and got a scar on her eye. Luckily it wasn't as bad as blue light and her eyesight is unharmed. She's also a little salty over being the only one from her age group who hasn't gotten an apprentice, as Ember Feather actually got one this year. He got his neck scar protecting them from a fox on their first patrol. And technically he got his ear scar from something else this year, but I'm choosing to say he got it while defending Lake Tree in the Medicine Cat Den during the rogue attack, since he was the one hanging out there on the clan page. However, on the same moon, his brother had the status that they were fighting. And I chose to take that literally as they were fighting together against the rogues instead of against each other. Which, speaking of, here's Ottertail. He has never shown any dislike for his brother at any point, and lore-wise it just wouldn't make sense that they would be fighting at the same time the rogues attacked. This was before he got together with Pale Path, so there wouldn't be any bad blood. And just in general, during the rogue attack, it would make no sense. I will say that they both probably wish they could protect the Elder's Den at the same time since their parents were in there, but they had a duty to protect the clan's one medicine cat. Ottertail's a little gloomy over Pale Path becoming mates with Ember Feather right now, but he wishes his brother well in the relationship and is trying to stay positive. He likes to tease his brother about stealing Pale Path if he messes up, but he doesn't mean it. Ottertail is currently busy training an apprentice of his own with Potato Cloud. Ottertail is really happy to have been given the chance to train someone and is excited to prove himself as a mentor, especially after his brother did such a great job. Oh yeah, so the funniest thing in my opinion happened in this game. Do you notice his little neck scar that he has now? He got that while fighting an otter, apparently. Ottertail fought an otter and got a scar. I'm sorry, but that notification was hilarious and he continues to live up to the chaos. Not only do the brothers both have neck scars of various degrees, but he also has a matching torn ear that I honestly don't remember seeing appear and have nothing written down for it, so I'm saying he got that while defending Lake Tree as well. Now on to Freckle Spot's kit, starting with Bubble Speck, which is honestly a very cute name. I don't know if it's the most fitting, but it's cute. He is 15 moons old and has grown to be vengeful, which I would say is concerning, but it's honestly expected based on his life he's had so far, as well as the fact he was mentored by the vengeful leader Burdock Star. On their first patrol, Burdock Star had him practicing defensive moves close to the camp due to the rogues causing problems, which they kind of goofed around a bit and bonded. Unfortunately, you may notice he has a giant scar. So when I time skipped a moon, it said he got a scar on his neck from something on the new moon screen. Then on that same moon, he got another scar from a rogue, which he was only 8 moons old at that time, and based on this happening on the same moon, I think canonically it makes the most sense if he wandered off on his own and got ambushed by the rogue lightning, and I combined the scars to have it happen in the same event. It was almost a murder until Burdock Star found him and chased off his attacker. She then rushed him to Lake Tree for immediate attention. The care that Burdock Star and his brother showed him while he was healing really showed him the contrast of the neglect his mother had, and he grew kind of upset with her. He was even more upset after finding out his mom caused all of this, and he is very dedicated to the clan, declaring it his now true family. After everything, Burdock Star had finally told him and his brother about the story of Stoneleaf, and told them not to seek revenge by committing murder as it is against the warrior code, and she doesn't want to see them fall down the same path. She understands fighting for defense or to chase them off, but she would hate to see them become corrupted with blood on their paws. And I'm a little concerned that he might seek some stuff in the future, but we'll have to see. Next up is his brother, the loyal Bright Mask, who was previously known as Pale Kit. Thank you for all the prefix suggestions. I had made a poll with the ones I liked the best, and Burdock Star renaming him to Bright Paw won. I like to think she did so hoping that he would have a bright future. She assigned his mentor to be Emberfeather, and I think she did that due to Emberfeather being only 3 moons old at the time of Stoneleaf's death, and he was able to train Brightpaw without the image of his brother unconsciously clouding his vision as much as, like, the other warriors. After seeing Emberfeather defend him from a fox on their first patrol to the point of getting injured, Brightpaw was taken aback with how much he cared, and he gained a strong respect for the Tom. Throughout the rogue attacks, he watched and was proud of how the clan stuck together and helped each other. Back when he was a kid, he thought he saw a Star Clan cat in his dreams that looked a lot like him. The cat told him to be careful and not to trust his mother. Brightpaw was upset at how little Frecklespot seemed to care about his brother when he almost died, and with the warning from his kit days in his mind, he distanced himself. Now, 2 things happened on the same moon of the rogue attack. First, Stoneleaf was walking in Bright Mask's dreams. Second, Bright Mask had the status, is fighting with Frecklespot. So I took that as Stoneleaf's spirit showed up during the attack and told him to go save Burdock Star, who at that point Frecklespot had took a life from. Perhaps combining their strength in some way, he chased off his mom, giving her that scar on her shoulder. I imagine Stoneleaf probably wanted to do even more damage, and after Bright Mask proved his loyalty and chased off his mom, Laketree saw him as the prophecy cat most likely, and confided in Burdock Star. After Bright Mask heard Stoneleaf's story from her, he tracked down Stoneleaf again in the dark forest while he was dreaming, and Stoneleaf told him these woods are not meant for him, and he chased him away. Also, side note, Stoneleaf has been sharpening his claws a lot, and I think he is waiting for Frecklespot's arrival in the dark forest, where he might be planning to get his own revenge more personally on her. And that was a lot, but we still have cats to get to, so let's go into the apprentice den and see Ravenspot and Aspen Lily's kits, who are now 7 moons old. First up is the nervous Cinderpaw. Now, I mentioned I would rename kits with the same name as living cats, but he is staying this way because he has the same facial pattern as Cinderpetal, and this is one of Ravenspot's kits, which means he named one of his babies after his brother, and my heart is going to explode. Also, this is the other reason I brought up Buzzard Daisy potentially being Ravenspot and Cinderpetal's dad, because he's mostly like a light gray, almost white color like him. Anyway, while he and his siblings were kits, he had been talking about wanting to get to know Squirrelpaw, which makes me think that Aspen Lily was telling them stories about her. He had also wished that they could spend more time with Hazel Runner, so obviously their parents had shared stories about his older brothers as well. I like to think despite their tragic fate, Cinderpaw was inspired by both Squirrelpaw and Tawny-sun to ask to be a medicine cat. And while Laketree was hesitant at first, she is doing her best to train him, and they have a very cute little relationship. He's a bit nervous that he won't be good enough, and also that he might end up reaching a bad fate, but he really wants to help other cats in the clan. Now onto his sisters, starting with the loving Fernpaw. Fernpaw is apprenticed to Ottertail, and on their first patrol, she managed to catch a mouse after they had gone over to hunting techniques for most of the day. Ottertail learning from Hot Whisker's method of training basics first. This was extra impressive seeing as this was Leaf Bear and prey is scarce. Fernpaw is an absolute sweetheart, and I love her. She looks like a little mini Ravenspot, but I made her fluffier. And she's super cute. She's just become an apprentice right now, but she can't wait to be a warrior, and she's been excited since she was a kit. She does her best to support both of her siblings, hanging out with Cinderpaw in the medicine cat den when things aren't busy, and trying to calm his nerves. I also imagine she's the type of apprentice to actually offer to go help the elders instead of being forced to. That being said, the elders are odd and bat, so I imagine they're pretty entertaining. But yeah, she's adorable and I love her. Last up in the den is her sister Patchpaw, who is fierce and was apprenticed to Potato Cloud. And while showing her the borders on their first patrol, they ran into a Bug Clan patrol and she tried to antagonize them until Potato Cloud got her quiet and apologized, saying this was her first patrol. The leader, Heatherstar, was in the patrol, and luckily they are compassionate and understood the struggles of a rowdy apprentice. Potato Cloud is grateful she didn't do this at the Creek Clan border instead. Side note, speaking of the other clans, I'm planning a smaller video where I briefly go over some of the more important people in them. Just cute little side thing. Patchpaw wants to be a tough warrior like her fierce deputy dad, Ravenspot, and her kind yet really strong dad, Aspen Lily, who protected them during the rogue attack. Fern Kit at the time had to hold her back from trying to join in the fight herself. Patchpaw is the type of apprentice that is itching to show off all her cool skills and chase off bad guys. She reminds me of a younger Cinderpetal. Though in her defense, she did basically grow up in a time of war when rogues were attacking them, so... Overall, I really love these three. Cinderpaw is a nervous wreck, Patchpaw is a reckless wildfire, and Fernpaw is there in the middle trying to keep them grounded. They're very cute. Now into the nursery with someone new. They joined the clan right before the big rogue attack, and immediately they looked kind of familiar to me. I don't want to keep randomly making cats related to each other due to having to keep track of a family tree, but I couldn't resist. So our new queen is Weedleap, which that sure is a name, and she is 112 moons old and has the personality Lonesome. She's pretty old to be having kids, but you know who else had kids at quite an old age? Odd. You know who Weedleap looks pretty similar to? Odd. I've decided that this is her little sister from another litter, who liked her alone time, preferring to live a life of solitude with occasional visits. I think Odd had secretly been seeing her even as an elder, and when Weedleap was expecting kits, she finally convinced her to come join the clan. While the clan was cautious of outsiders at the time, you can't stop Odd or predict anything she does. And canonically, it wasn't Odd who invited her, but I'm retconning that. Also, Weedleap joined the clan on the 69th moon, which I can't not mention because funny number, haha. And if she was a human, she would have a username that ends in 42069. You cannot convince me otherwise. Weedleap has two sons, Mintkit and Oakkit. I would have renamed Mintkit due to mint fur existing, but she passed away now, and I think mint is a cute prefix, so I'll keep it. I'm not sure if the Odd family goofiness has rubbed off on the kits, but we'll see in the future.